Hello, this is Trinity Awakenings. I am your host, Tanya Ingram, and I am having technical difficulties now. Facebook seems to be fucking with me a little bit, and I'm not gonna lie, it is annoying. I waited for my people to come in for the conversation, and they come in and they can't hear anything, and they couldn't. So for the first time, we were trying to do this again because we were getting views. Facebook likes to try to shut us down. So they have this thing that they do where they'll fuck with your connection, or they'll make it so that you can't add someone into the live, or they'll make it so that they can't hear you. So this is all what they're doing right now. It's one thing right after another. We've had all three of them in a row at this point, which is absolutely ridiculous. But they do it purposefully so that we can't communicate. It's a part of their bullshit that they do. So hopefully I can get him back in here and he can hear me. Yeah, all right. Let's try this again, Derek. Good. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes. Boom. Hey.
Thank goodness. I think it's Facebook. I think Facebook is doing it because when we start getting views in these conversations, they do what they can to mess with the algorithm. So it makes no sense that we were perfectly fine when I added you back in. Then they didn't want to even, it didn't even have the option for us to get you back in. And then the next time after that, we couldn't hear one another. So that's not like normal technical shit. That's Facebook fucking around is what that is. It's annoying. I'm not gonna lie, it's annoying. Anyway, I apologize for my phone dying earlier. I really appreciate you coming back, on. Thank you so much for doing that. Hopefully Fred will join us at some point, but either way, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just grateful that you're here and that you were willing to come back in. Thank
Yeah,
you.
totally. And if Fred is listening, honestly, I wanted to join you the second time around from my computer to have my microphone set up and have a better thing because I don't like to do these things from the phone. So it was impossible for me to find that through my computer. So Fred, if you're trying to, join on, like try to do it from your smartphone if you can. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like a little touch on the bottom left hand thing, like, oh, you can click it, like, oh, join the thing. So yeah, or send request to join the live. So
So it wasn't
yeah,
even letting you do it that way either. Wow.
yeah, because like social media is more driven towards people. They want people to be on their smartphones. They don't want people to like access these things and look at them leisurely through their computers. It seems like things are so much more like they're minimalizing our attention span, and at the same time the size
Mm-hmm.
of the black slab, the black mirror,
Yeah,
whatever, you know what I mean, that kind of shit.
yeah,
And we can do
yeah.
more with the desktop and all that stuff, but and that's not to negate the versatility of smartphones. I mean, obviously you're broadcasting what you're trying to do with you and what you got going on with the Trinity Awakening,
Mm-hmm.
for means of media you got going on. So that's cool at the same time,
It's
so
nice. My computer right now, my camera's broken on there. I've been trying to access it and it hasn't been working. So I'm grateful that the phone does this. But in the future, once I get a new one, I probably will be using the computer. They are nice. So I mean, I'm hoping to get a new one here in the next month or two. Before Mark Passio's seminar, I am going to drop a quick line here about Mark Passio has a seminar coming up. If you are not signed up to it, I will put the link in the chat when we finish this conversation. Check it out for anybody that hasn't done it. This will be my third time taking it. And it's fantastic. It's a great place to network. The information, of course, is really good, but also the networking alone, I think, is worth it. um, Getting the access to everybody else and being able to communicate. You took it, didn't you, Derek?
no, I mean,
Oh,
it connects with a lot of folks in network and stuff, and there are Telegram groups that have taken the class, how to become the one, or how to become the
the
media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
Fred just sent a thing. I don't know if you can send him a request for him to get on. I don't know if you saw his comments there, but
I didn't. Let me see. What did he say?
Freddie,
Did he say?
back to us.
Okay, great. Let me see if I can add him.
Sure, yeah.
No, it said he's having technical difficulties. Let me try again.
Yes, and ask him. Are you Fred? Are you working from? Are you trying to get on from your computer or your phone? Because I have to connect from my phone. That's the only way I have been able to connect with you on this live stream, actually, Tanya. So
Yeah, let him go back out and come back in. Sometimes his internet gets a little slow. Here we go. It's letting me try now.
cool, cool.
It says it may be, so maybe we'll be lucky enough. I'd love to have you both in here at the same time. Oh my God, it's
Yeah,
gonna work! I'm so happy. Hi, Fred.
yeah, brother.
How you
How are
doing,
you
man?
doing? I'm doing great.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Okay.
how much as the hell was that to just join up? I tried like many times, you know?
Uh-huh.
Digital
Yep. It's
Ethereum.
purposeful.
Yeah.
They're doing it on purpose. They're fucking with my shit. I'm telling you, I had a bunch of views on a lot of my stuff, and I can see how many views I'm getting, and I know that they're cutting them back. They're cutting them back because they want me to think that I'm not getting as many views as I am. And then they're showing other people that I'm only getting half the views. So some of my content that has like 1,500 views, they're telling people only has like 500 views or some lame ass number like that. Yeah, it's like unreal. It's terrible. But I am going to move this platform. I'm going to do like Mark does and broadcast on a bunch of different platforms at once. It's a process of learning how to do it. That's really where I'm at right now is I want to learn how to do it. I want to broadcast on here, but also broadcast on other platforms at the same time. So it's a process I'm
You
learning.
got to
Um,
try, you know. See?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I mean, for right now, it's better than nothing. You know, I appreciate you guys working with me though. Fred, thank you so much for your efforts and coming in. And I want to hear both of you tell me, you know, we were talking about the men and the male and female divide. That was our big conversation, Fred. And I know you have a lot to talk about with this too, because you are a married man. You have a wonderful relationship with your beautiful wife and you have 4 children. So I'm sure you have a very important take on this as well. And I want the male perspective because I can give the female perspective all day. But I think men need to hear the male perspective as well. So the two of you, please take it away and, you know, help give some of these men some direction for healthy masculine energy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, you want to start, Derek? I'm starting the. Okay, so essentially, there's no secrets, there's no books, there's no encyclopedia to explain how to be a man and the responsibility that comes with it. For me, it's a very instinctual thing. I follow my intuition and I follow my wits and my will. And the one thing that I discovered, I'm actually learning and putting into try to resolve the puzzle of the red pill movement and the MGTOW and neo-feminism. So I'm pretty much right into it right now. And all this situation can be resumed in one thing: cultural indoctrination. This is the key for enslavement. Essentially, the model of what we call the atomic family is a really basic, easily understandable way of doing it. I'm not saying that that's the be all and all. This is not what I'm saying. I mean the basic our basic roles as men and women are different. We have different perceptions of things. We're not processing the information the same
Oh,
way, and
That's for
we're
sure.
yeah, and we're not maturing at the same time. There's a difference of maturity between them, and this is due to the cultural indoctrination imbalance that has been pushed onto particularly women in the 50, 60 last years. The new model for the women and a new model for the men. So what I keep on repeating is it's an inversion.
Mm-hmm.
It's always an inversion. This is the way they do the thing. So essentially, they will not waste any resource on try to brainwash adults who have different models. They live in different ages and generations, and they will not waste their time on them. They're gonna put all the resources into the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yep.
change the change and in the culture is pushed and uh, uh, forced onto the young because the parents are load of this responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and they're afraid of it, and they're afraid because they were raised into complaisance and ignorance. And I think most people, not all, but most people are deeply, deeply irresponsible.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah, and you know what I think?
yeah,
I think you're right about that, Fred, but I think they don't understand that they are children in adult bodies because they think that they're thinking like an adult. You know, when women are searching for a provider, okay, when they're searching for a man that has all the things, you know, a ton of money and this, that, and the other, what they don't understand is they're searching for someone to take care of them. That's a child's thing. That's a thing that a
yeah,
child does. A child needs someone to provide
yeah,
everything for them. Now, I'm not saying that a woman shouldn't seek a partner that can take care of themselves and has resources. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to bring shame on women that have good partners that have resources. What I'm saying is when that's what you're seeking genuinely, and you're not seeking the person genuinely, your connection with them is not going to be real, and it's not going to be able to be really maintained long term. And so that's why there's so many divorces and so much. It's a lie. A real connection is going to happen on a real level, and it's not going to be enough to have the resources only. It's
mm,
not going to be enough,
mm,
you know? And when you're reaching for someone else to take care of you in that childish manner, you haven't learned how to care for yourself. When that person leaves you, if they do, you're going to be screwed. You're not going to know how to take care of yourself. And now you probably have children that you have to take care of too, on
yeah.
top of it. You know, and this is a societal issue,
Oh
and
yeah,
the men are so overwhelmed by these crazy expectations of financial, you know, expectations that some of these females have, you know, and I really think that it's a form of financial abuse. I do, you know, and I think that it is a child's thing. It's what a child does to seek a parent to care for them. And that's what these women are doing. These full-grown women are seeking a parent to care for them instead of learning how to parent themselves.
That seems kind of apparent to me for a couple of years. You see, les amis, but yeah. As far as like uh, for me, really trying to break down like okay, because like doing the shadow work and all these things, and like I've been through divorce after being in such profound love with a woman over 9 years, 11 years we were together for, and all these things, and then like realizing like once that rug got slipped on my feet and I fell so fucking hard, my heart shattered so hard, and it took me a long time to kind of like rebuild my self resilience and like get out of like the codependence that all the things. And through that process, what I realized is, you know, like I had to like, and it was going, I was going through this, you know, when I was married at the same time, like thinking about having kids and all these things, and like, okay, like how am I going to be a parent, and how am I going to be a conscious parent and teach kids all these things, and like how would I want to be parented myself, going through, you know, the whole time frame of me being parented myself, and how it could have been better, how I, you know, appreciated certain things, and just, you know, like weaving a tapestry of something that would be, you know, spectacular for kids, you know, that I was hoping to have in the future, type of thing. So for me, when you mentioned this whole thing of, you know, like, yeah, the relationship type of thing, and yeah, going back into shadow work and Carl Jungian work, and Fred, you know this really well, Carolyn Rowley, what she talks about all the time with, you know, the anima animus, and how so much shadow work is, you know, brought to the forefront in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
especially, but shit that's unresolved. And so when people aren't able to like just parentally guide themselves within themselves, like have that hieros gamos, if you will, you know, the balance of the masculine and feminine archetypal energies within their consciousness, the mind, and have that does correspond and correlate to, you know, father, motherhood, all these things, if people really go profound enough into these things. And so to have that integrated, it's going to, you know, really facilitate a much more fluid and proper relationship, where conflicts are going to arise regardless of any conscious level relationship, but they're going to be resolved that much more easier, and things are going to just going to elevate that much more better, especially if both partners are, you know, inclined to be that aligned, if you
Right.
will, you know. So
And wanting to work together, seeking to truthfully communicate and also be respectful to one another. You can't fly off the handle and call each other names and stupid shit like that. That's preschool shit. We're adults now. We need to be able to talk to one another without saying names, and always playing the blame game too. And that's a big part, because sometimes it's simple perspective. Sometimes it's like a misalignment that occurs for a moment, and two perspectives aren't the same. It doesn't mean that someone's attacking someone else. It doesn't even always mean that someone's purposefully trying to harm you. Sometimes the perspective is really so different between men and women, and you know that has to be taken into account. There has to be some room for people to make mistakes, you know, fail a little bit, without the constant threats of ending a relationship, or you know, divorce or any of that stuff. I mean, I know some people that, I mean, you cut your nail the wrong way, they'll threaten to leave you. You know, they have no tolerance for any imperfection whatsoever, and there has to be some room for that, you know, to grow. If there's no safety and no security, the people can't grow. We seek that for a reason from one another, and the females need to offer that to the males just as much as the men need to do it to the females. And Fred, I want to know, if your relationship with your wife, to what degree you're comfortable, you know, talking about it, you know, what would you say a good way to express, you know, you're upset with a partner without like bringing them down or trying to hurt them? You know, like what would your response be to like tell other men like how to deal with such a situation?
Okay, so it's really easy actually. Um, you treat people like how you would be treated. You want to be treated,
Yeah.
essentially. So on my position, and I can only talk for myself. This relationship that I have with my wife is not only a couple, a parent relationship. We are friends. We're growing up together, and no nothing can prepare you for the thing that's happening in life. So we have to the trick that I have to give to men as such is to man up. So what it means that men are we have the character naturally for action. We're action people. We're doing things, and I'm not saying that women are not doing it. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the men, the character of men is in action. So what we have to do is the growing together and communication. Communication is everything. If you have this toxic relationship with yourself and you're treating yourself like shit, you're not going to be able to treat someone else well or right. There's no way to uh, uh, take a turn and going around it and try to avoid it. It's impossible. So the relationship you're going to have with the people or the relationship that you have with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, there's exception to that. Okay, when we're talking about sociopathic narcissists and psychopath, they're very hard to really hard to detect because they're playing a role. This is a role, and one of the role of, and I'm talking about men and women. Okay, so this is not only for men; it's for women too. So this pattern seems to be à la mode at this time. Okay, it's very trendy to be toxic. It's very trendy to impose your will upon the other people, or causing violence, or violating their consent because of this god awful retarded social media phenomena. So this is there's the disconnection is there. People are like cowards now. They don't want to go out and meet people in real life and making mistakes.
You know.
Yeah.
What?
They won't
Fred.
on the internet. They won't get punched in the face for talking shit to someone. You know, disrespecting them at a pocket. You right?
Oh, I mean, for myself, I'm the same person as I am on the podcast.
Me too. Yeah.
So I'm not playing games there. I'm not like, I'm a very I respect people. I don't like all of them. I don't have to.
No.
And this is life, you know, and it's gonna happen. You're gonna meet some people, you know, for a time, and then afterward they're gonna vanish, and that's life, you know. And I think the relationship when you and I was blessed with meeting my beautiful wife. We're comrade, we're friends, we're a couple. We have it's not always easy. We're growing up, and we have to let ourselves being human and making mistakes, and maybe sometimes you're gonna get angry or you're gonna feel indignation or things like that, and it's okay and it's healthy to get through this process of assimilating this emotion and trying to not repressing them and try to build a solution with that. Sure, there's some acts that are between a man and a woman. There's some things that we are deeming unacceptable or things like that because of our values or principles. There's some things like that. So we have to really not, and this is a building thing. I don't believe I know that instant love doesn't exist. It must be built, but it must be worked on, and you're gonna know it after this uh, how do you call that? There's a beautiful the first month, you know, it's very fluffy and happy, and you're gonna have all these hormones, and
The
you feel
honeymoon
good,
cycle.
and afterward, What?
The honeymoon effect.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Honeymoon effect. So there's and afterward, after a few months, you're gonna start to see how the person really is, and this is where it starts. Love
Yeah.
love is a work.
Yeah.
It's a work.
Yeah. It is. It is work. And both people have to be willing to work on it. Not just one. Both people have to be involved. And that's why, like, I know for me, I'm just not into the casual thing. I'm not into it. Like, I am dating, but I'm looking long term, and I'm very honest about that. I am not a casual woman. It's not meant for me. But I will say what I have been noticing because of the dating sites and stuff like this, men don't seem to have as much confidence as they used to have when approaching women, and they don't seem to approach women nearly as much in person. And so what I'm witnessing is men are watching, okay? They're interested in me. I see them. Sometimes they follow me a little bit in their cars and they do some creepy shit, but mostly they watch me a lot. They wait until they get the opportunity to contact me online, and then they do that instead of coming up to me like a man and face to face talking to me. And so I'm noticing that a lot. Men in society aren't even meeting my eyes. And I think they do that to a lot of women because they're afraid. They're afraid to talk to women. They're afraid because of the whole Me Too movement to even engage with women. And that's something that's unacceptable. When you have, first of all, men need to be able to look at their surroundings in order to be safe. That's a natural thing that people are supposed to do. You can't be averting your fucking eyes 24/7. I couldn't stand to live like that. I don't live like that. It's too much to ask of men in society. It's not safe and it's not okay. It's abusive. It's abusive to tell men they can't look at their surroundings. Now, it's another thing if a man's staring at a woman like for, 15 minutes like a creep from his car and you don't know what he's doing in there. That's creepy. That's different. But for him to simply glance your direction, or even to pay you a compliment, and then you to act like he's abusing you in some way, that's unacceptable. Women really need to grow up. This is not how women should be responding. If you're uncomfortable with men seeing you, stay the fuck home. I don't know what to tell you. They exist too. They have a right to life. You cannot tell these men to look away when they see you. Okay? It's not okay to do that. They have eyes in their face. They're going to look at their environment. But the issue with that is that you do have the unfortunate abusive men that do come. Oh, yeah, he dropped out. I think it was he might have lost his connection. He'll come back in probably. When you have abusive men that do shit like that, unfortunately, then it makes everybody uncomfortable, and then people are having to be kind of on edge about it. So, I mean, there's a balance you have to be aware of, I think, and you have to be aware of what people are doing. But there's unreasonable things too. And I think it's absolutely unreasonable for women to tell men to avert their eyes from their existence. It's so egotistical and it's cruel and it's abusive and it's unacceptable. And men need to have the ability to have conversations with people. Every man that's coming up to you isn't necessarily trying to get into your pants. I think that's a very childish way of looking at other, but you're trained to, as a woman, you're trained to believe that. I've even caught myself doing that. I'll be honest. I've even caught myself doing that. There was one guy, and this was actually kind of embarrassing. Maybe a couple weeks or a month or so ago, I was at a park. A guy said something. I didn't even look. I assumed. He said something. I said, "Oh, no, thank you," because I do, have a lot of men that, try to flirt with me and stuff. So I just assumed that's what he was doing. He had a girlfriend in the car with him, and he was talking to her. You know, it was really stupid. It was stupid,
Right.
but I assumed, and that's dumb. And people have to stop doing things like that. I acknowledged it. I apologized to him. I said, I apologize. I didn't see her. I, took the situation in a completely different way. He wasn't even talking to me. He wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to her. And so we need to take responsibility for, our own perceptions and shit. and stuff like that too. But I mean, it would be nice if men would start to straighten their backs up and try to have these conversations, you know, in person more with females, and that, you know, if females could respond in a way that's a little bit more adult. You know, if you're not, you know, interested, just tell him no thank you. You can say that in a kind voice and, you know, walk away. You don't have to date someone, you know, that you don't want to date. Just be nice. I think that that's a real issue because they're going online. Everything's happening online now. The whole dating community, it's like all online now.
Well, yeah,
It's almost
yeah.
impossible to meet somebody in person in an honest way anymore, which is really scary, actually, don't you think?
And yeah, that's the thing. You know, and I'm glad you brought it back to that point because, you know, last time I spoke, that's kind of what I was getting at of
Mhm.
just, you know, like I just threw it in there when Fred was talking and I wanted to keep him going. But, you know, sometimes like a little throw in like, hey, you know, and this is happening and all this stuff. And like zero accountability with these
Mhm.
people on the internet. They could just, you know, throw out whatever the fuck, you know, like
Yeah.
keyboard warrior stuff and all this, you know, whatever and like all that stuff. And so how does that tie into the dating scene, you know, all these dating apps and all that crap? You know,
Yeah.
like people can, you know, just all right. So there's, you know, the phenomenon that's been going on for, you know, well over like 2 decades of, you know, the fake it to make it type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just creeped up exponentially with the rise of technology and what people can get away with and all these things and what and all these digital masks that people can
Yeah.
hide and all these things,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, like who the fuck they think they are and what they're trying to portray on any kind of dating site and all this shit and whatever the fuck, or
Yeah.
Face Crook, fake book and all
Big
this shit. You know,
profiles. Yeah, it's a big thing. A lot of people are really fake and they lie about their credentials. They lie about what they do. Some of them have criminal records. I did date one guy. I found out later that he had a criminal record. I didn't even know it. So, and what's worse is like the
hey, I
women that
do too.
fall. What?
I do too, but I just sold weed and you know got caught up in that fucking bullshit. But yeah, it's like
Yeah, but you seem
15
like
years
the
ago.
kind.
But yeah,
Right. You seem like the kind of guy that would be honest about that. He was hiding it, you know, and
yeah.
he was still on parole even, and I didn't
Oh
know it.
shit.
And I think that he knew, you know, that I probably wasn't going to be as interested if he told me that. And he was right. I really, you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't give someone a chance. I'm just saying he was still on parole. So it wasn't like it was in his past history. It was something that was still going on, and I wouldn't have been interested probably, you know, and so he hid it from me, and then he got arrested later and everything. It was the weirdest thing. He unpeeled like an onion. All the truth came one thing after another. It was so unreal. It was like first I found out that he had been on parole. Then I found out that he had a completely different military history than he had told me. It wasn't even true. He had only spent like a very limited amount of time in the military. He told me he had this like long military history. It was the whole thing. What do they call them?
Red flags. But no,
No, no,
but
not
real
red,
quick, there's
like
someone that's
Baker.
going to join the live chat. I don't know if you noticed that. Someone that was looking to join. I don't know if you're interested in having someone on.
I don't see them. I'm not seeing the message.
Really?
Who is it?
I saw a comment real quick of someone like, someone requested to join the live
I
stream.
don't see it.
Huh.
Facebook is blocking me from seeing it.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, they're awful. It's
I didn't catch the name, but whoever's out there that's trying to join, sorry. Yeah, I
I
don't know.
apologize. I would have added you person. For some reason, Facebook is being difficult today. We've been having issues with them. So,
On and off. How many times and that cut off, you know, the flow of things?
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah, yeah, and they will mess with the views too. They do.
Obviously,
Like,
yeah.
I know that people are watching because I'm highly psychic and I can actually feel them watching. And they don't show us the numbers, but I know because
Hmm.
I can actually feel because of my gifts. You know, they can't hide the truth from me because I know I'm that connected to my intuition, but they lie
They
about it. You
can't
know,
shut down your intuition, you know.
yeah, like they were doing it on my other profile, my hula hooping profile. And see, how I knew they were doing it over there was I would post a video, I would get 1 view a minute, which isn't bad, you know, but after like 1,000 views, it would stop, solid. I would get 1 view a minute for hours and hours and hours, and then boom, they would put a stop to it. And they were purposefully stopping it. And I recognized that, and they lowered it after a while. They allowed the thousands for a while. But you know why? Because I had one video with over 50,000 views. And
Oh
when
wow.
that happened, they started really getting the views. Yeah, they really started lowering the views. Yeah, it's very purposeful. I watched them. At first, I was thinking, you know, because I know that I'm good at what I do. People are very interested in me. They stop to talk to me. They want to communicate with me. You
You're a
know, they
Leo,
watch
right?
me. What's that?
You're a Leo, right?
No, I'm air sign. I'm Libra.
Oh shit. Ah, cool. I got that ascended, but yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm
see
very
the radiant energy. I see some Leo in you. I don't know, like
Oh, thank you. I might have some fire
that.
signs somewhere. I'm mostly Libra, I think, in my chart, but I'll have to look at it again because it's been a while. But I do have like I'm very I've been told I'm intense. And I know that. I know that. But people seem to like that sometimes and they will stop and try to talk to me and stuff while I'm doing what I'm doing. But the unfortunate thing is like Facebook will purposefully stop people from seeing my stuff. And that's not the only platform they've done it on. They've done it on other platforms too. And so it's a constant battle. It's constant for us to get this information out there. They find any and all reasons to do it. And you know, what I realized they did was I connected my accounts to my Lorana Love account, and
Yeah.
that account was shadow banned. So all of my accounts basically are shadow banned regardless now. And I don't even know how to get out of that. I don't even know how to get out of
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like we hit this digital wall. All these, content creators and people trying to spread the truth and all these things. I'm in the
yeah.
same boat. I've been doing this for a dozen years, and I haven't even hit like 5,000 subscribers. I post things on Instagram or Twitter and Facebook. I've hit like one time like 1,000 views on a video on
Yeah.
Facebook. Like wow, okay, but
Yeah, it's like what they can't do, and they don't like this, is they can't block this ass. Okay? People like looking at this ass. They don't like that. They can only dull that down, but they can't stop that. So it does help. I'm not going to lie. It helps. You know, it gets the views up. It catches more attention. People don't want to admit to that, but it's
right?
true. I
Yeah,
know it's true. They
and all
know it's true
respect.
too.
So I've noticed that I haven't really like said anything to you, but I've noticed your approach, and I respect that and appreciate it, and recognize where you're coming from, and appreciate your beauty and your confidence and
You.
willingness to kind of flaunt that and all that. So
Yeah, well, I have a good
that's fucking
time. I have a
right.
very good time.
Fucking
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your compliment. My friend called it a truth or honey trap.
yes, I like that. But yeah, the thing that sucks with that is, and many women have had to deal with this of, yeah, the fucking, catcalling, digital bullshit and this and that. And it goes back to people not being held accountable for their bullshit behavior because
Yeah,
digital thing and oh we can block them this and that or we can digitally slap them or whatever the fuck, but at the end like did they learn a lesson? Are they going to continue or are they just going to move on to the next? Like what the fuck?
we
Yeah, the narcissist needs to keep on feeding and move on to the next type of thing, and so it's easy for them type of shit.
Right. We have to
That's
learn
fucked
as
up.
content creators to just not take any of it personally. Like, don't take any, like, there was one guy, this woman sent me a picture of a guy who was going off, calling me names, whatever. You know, it's they get triggered by me because I'm a 41-year-old woman who's healthy and happy and sexual and sensual and fine with herself, and they can't fucking handle it.
Yeah,
They can't. I don't look like Kim Kardashian. I'm only allowed to be confident if I look like Kim Kardashian. But I'm attractive even in a social way, like, and they don't like that. They're like, oh, she's a truther and she's attractive, so they want to try to degrade me because I'm also an artist too, and I do the hula hooping, and I'm half naked, and because I'm happy being half naked, they can't stand it, so they get triggered.
what
They
about
call
the
me
roller
names.
skating, yo?
What's
That was tight.
that?
Roller skating.
I love my roller skating. I do, but all
That's
of it,
skills.
I hula
Like
hoop.
frills, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and also telling people, like, you can be all these things. Like, just because I'm a sensual person doesn't make me a whore. But people, like,
Oh, fuck
are
no.
sick. They're sick, soul sick. Like, when they see a woman sexually, that's all she is now to them. They cannot see a woman as healthy, happy, full of joy because they're so unhealthy themselves. They can't even acknowledge it. And it triggers them. And what I've really found, to be honest, is not the men being a problem. It's the women. The women, the jealousy, the level of jealousy that I have been having to deal with is unfucking real. It's unreal. They act as though I'm saying I'm better than them. I've never said it. It doesn't matter. They project their bullshit is what they do. And
Yeah,
they have been terrible. Bitches have been terrible. They've been 10 times worse than the dudes. 10 times worse.
but I don't
The
understand. Like for the past decade, the Me Too movement. I thought that would,
yeah, oh, it's
create
bullshit.
bridges for the sisterhood and all these
Yeah,
things.
it's not. Oh, only if she's not hot. If she's hot and they're intimidated by her, then she's a whore.
But I don't get it. It seems like a lot of women they can easily get what they want. Like men flock to women, and I wanted to mention this before, like in regards to like your reaction of a guy that was in a relationship and this and that, and like, hey, like I don't know what you said to him, but like, hey, stop flirting with me or whatever. And it's just like this kind of like conditioned reaction to beautiful women that have been hit on like ad infinitum since they were in their fucking teens.
Yeah.
And up to a point, yeah, sometimes I could totally understand that y'all can lash out even at an inappropriate moment, just because it's just been a it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and that could be a projection or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. But yeah, going back to these projections, and I don't understand why. Yeah, it's just like is it too much of the tipping of the scales with the balance not being equal amongst women because there's not the masculine element? Because I'll tell you straight up, like I've worked in restaurants where like I joined a restaurant and there was like it was predominantly female, and they were like so happy to have me, like, oh, I'm so happy to have you, like this and that. It's like,
Hmm.
why? Like y'all seem like hella cool, like a bunch of chicks, like that's fucking awesome. Like I'm all I've always been down for the sisterhood, and like it
Yeah.
always baffled me why y'all don't always get like what I
I
mean?
don't get like that. I don't get jealous and cruel like that. I like to see women do well. When I see a beautiful woman, I think good for her. I hope she's safe. Good for her. That is what I think. But I forget how catty other women can be. I was always like this. Even when I was a little girl, I was always pretty, and people were cruel to me when I was a little girl, and I thought it was something I was doing. I really didn't know what it was until later on. I figured it out. They used anything they could. They couldn't call me ugly because I was pretty. So what they did instead was they made fun of everything they could. My family was poor. That was the caveat. That was the thing that they tried to hit me with. And so that was the thing that kept me away from getting, the good dates in school with the boys that, the families were well off. Those boys still liked me,
I don't
still
know.
stared at me, still had crushes on me, but refused to date me because my family was poor. Oh yeah, and this continued until I got older. And then once out of school, then, wealthier men started approaching me and stuff because it was, no longer like a social, thing, and you know, I do quite well in the dating scene now, but when I was a little girl, that was a real problem, like, and it was, and I think that was like a
Right.
societal thing too. But women, yeah, like
Where did you grow up, by
I
the way?
what's that?
You grew up where exactly?
Oh yeah, I can't talk about that
Oh
because
yeah, sorry.
unfortunately I have like a couple of like stalker type people, and I
Oh
don't want to give them more
yeah,
leverage, though. I mean, if they really
yeah.
wanted to do the research, I'll let them do it, but I'm not going to hand it to them on a silver platter. But yeah, it was more of like a country type of area, very well off area. So people were spoiled, to be honest. Very like, not even suburban, very country, very well off. People have a lot of resources here, have a lot of very clean cut, not a lot of struggling. Um, and the struggling that does occur, there's usually some help for. Very few homeless people. These people are pretty well off. They're doing pretty good. Not rich by any means, but they're doing better than they think they are comparatively. Some of them have never really left the area, so they don't really know how spoiled they are and
Ha!
how tough other areas can be.
But what
Um,
about their consciousness that has been like kind of like not even spoiled, but like not even
yeah, very
boiled up
limited.
to the temperature that's beyond the pole ice, if you will, in esoteric terms of like getting to the 33rd degree of a beyond the frozen consciousness, if you will. You know what I
Well,
mean? But anyways, going back to what you
difficulty.
were saying, that like yeah.
Yeah, the jealousy. Yeah. And then the difficulty is now I have such a big personality and I've grown into it. And so I do the hula hooping, I do street hula hooping, I go outside. I am me all fucking day long. This is who you're looking at it,
I,
man. This is who I am.
yeah. Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
and people like either love it or some people really cannot stand it. And so they've gotten this area in particular has gotten socially a little difficult for me because people are a little bit intimidated by me now. Some of them are interested, but it's so uneducated. They're not used to artists. They're not used to any of that. So like we are actually working on moving to another area where it's going to be easier for me to have like people in like more of a city type environment are used to seeing artists. They're used to seeing things like that. So it's not going to be as shocking, when they see me doing my performances on the street and stuff. And I'm not going to move right into the city, but I mean close enough that it's the temperament and the education level is different and everything because I don't want to deal with the level of, and don't get me wrong, they're not bad people, but they're very limited here. Like if I do anything, they're like, oh, what's she doing now? What's she doing? Like, it's been to the point, I'm kind of like a local celebrity even,
Ah,
and it's come to the point where I don't even have to be hula hooping or doing anything. They'll video record me walking down the street, like just walking, and they'll drive by with their phone
okay,
up,
okay.
recording me. So I think that this was a preparation for this podcast for what I'm doing. I'm getting a lot more views. There's a lot more people jealous of me, and I'm just going to have to get used to this. I'm being slowly brought into the public eye more and more and more, and it's actually not even slow anymore. Now it's really raising up, and that's why I think some of the people are acting up the way they are. I've received emails that were threatening. Um, I've received all kinds of messages, via DM and stuff like that. And I think it just comes with the territory.
Of
We have to learn
course,
how
yeah.
to have thick skin. I am a woman and I'm a force to be reckoned with because I am pretty too. So that is tough. I have the information. I'm smart. I have the skill. They can't look at me and just call me a whore. I have a skill. and it's good. And I'm very good at what I do. When I'm hula hooping, I have one hoop on each leg. Please, please. You know I'm good. You know I'm good. It pisses them
Seen a couple
off. It
of videos, yeah, real talk.
you know.
By the way, Fred,
Go ahead.
Fred just mentioned he's back. I don't know if he can
Great.
bring him back.
I can't even see him.
Oh shit.
Let me see if I can add him back now. Okay, I'm trying to add him now. Perfect. But yeah, that's kind of part of it too. And
Yeah,
like, there you are.
fuck yeah.
Oh, Fred is back. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say we'll do about 10 more minutes, and then
Oh,
I'll have to say goodnight. But I am so glad that you're back. Thank you so much for coming back in. We were talking about jealousy and unhealthy, behaviors of vindictive people and stuff a little bit. We kind of went off what we were talking about before. Whenever you did they boot you off or did your internet act up?
No, my wife called me, so I had to take the phone.
Oh, yep. Family first.
Yep,
Family first every
absolutely.
time. Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you for being that kind of husband for your wife. I appreciate that. So
I'm not perfect, but I do my best.
I want to ask you guys a question. When you're looking at females, okay, when you're looking at women, and your honest opinion for both of you, and Fred, you too, even though you're married, even I still would like an opinion from you. If you were not married, which you are, but if you weren't, if you were looking at a female, what would be the thing that would be the most important to you? And also, I know you're in a relationship, Derek, but I would also be curious to what your take on that would be.
Honestly, um, I mean, usually when I want to know someone, I'm talking to them. So it was the same thing with my wife. Sure, you have this maybe physical aspect of it, but I think even if the person, whatever is a man or a woman, if they're beautiful but they're fucking stupid, it doesn't worth it.
Yeah.
So you have to, there's a and it's relative to everyone. Your standards, how you call that, in quotes, your standards are gonna have influence, and the relationship you have with your parents, and your experience as a human. So the for myself, I think there's
oh, shit.
I hear myself talking. So the the relationship,
Oh,
it's very annoying. I hear myself.
Oh, I
yeah. What happened?
apologize. I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah, that's weird.
Jennifer. Yeah. So I want to say there's not many things that it attracts me more than someone who can take their responsibility and assume their role, as a person, and frankly, uh, physical appearance is a secondary for me. Even if I would, you know, being alone and searching and dating, I don't think I would stumble upon this kind of female in the near future. They're very scarce. Um, what my definition of femininity is very different for women. For my relationship, there's women who act like men, and it's not. I'm not attracted by this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I hear
character.
you on that. Yeah, I hear you on that. And I think that unfortunately, because of the divide, some women are becoming more masculine. And it is good to tap into your masculinity to some degree, but you need to be able to hold your feminine energy at the same time. And so I have learned to really, allow myself to uh, lay inside my feminine energy and remain there throughout my life, even when I have to, tap into my masculine energy, I still try to stay in that feminine energy too, because, I think that society wants to push that narrative of men or of women being, almost male like. So that's something that when people have to, watch for. And I wonder too
Yes,
if that energy push affects the fertility of women. I wonder if that's something, could it affect their vibration if they're tapping so far into that masculinity? Is it
yeah.
affecting their female vibration and possibly their fertility? That's something to consider. Derek, what would you say about that? What would you be looking for?
Well, yeah, as far as like the original question, for me, it's always been about the windows of the soul, that eye contact. It's always been like the most intimate thing that I've experienced with a woman. And yeah, as Fred said, there's things that have to be considered as far as what we're going to be committing ourselves to after that initial interest, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Feels weird with this,
Right.
so I don't know where it's coming from, but it's all good. We're gonna roll with it because it's kind of cool. I'm used to remixing shit like that and music, but yeah, there's sensuality with women that I love. There's a aura essence about women that I truly adore. That can be, yeah, not the most uh, prior oral thing, as Fred mentioned, kind of like. Because
Right.
yeah, for me, it's just like really just like gazing into the eyes is like having almost like the that mirror effect, not that perfect uh, partnership or whatever, or reflection or whatever you will, but it's just something that you could live with for the rest of your life. And it's so beautiful and something reliant and calming for a man to have. It's just that worry, that solace. Uh, yeah, just
Yeah,
you know.
I can hear that, and I know for me, when I'm looking at a male, he has to be awakened to some degree. He has to be awakened to some degree, or he's almost a danger in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he isn't awakened to some degree, um, I'm not even sure like what level or degree I would even need. Like I know that they have to be to some degree, or I'm not even going to be attracted to them. And it doesn't even matter what they look like either. Like if they're really hot, I'm someone who physical appearance is important to me, but it's not the number one thing. And so I can fall in love with someone that someone else could find very unattractive because I fall in love with the mind more than anything, and a person's heart and who they are. That has always been who I am, and I've dated a couple of people that people considered like not very socially, like conventionally attractive, because I found them and their personalities and stuff to be a good for me. And so that, I think, to me is probably number one. And that's why one of my dating questions is, do you drink the tap water? Do you drink it? Because if they say yes, the conversation's over. It's over before it begins, because where am I going to go with that? Like, how can I even, what am I even going to say? What's my next word going to be? I know you can't even think. I know you can't have a clear thought if you're drinking the tap water. End of story. If you're drinking it unfiltered, then you can't even think. So what is there? There's nothing there then. And I know that. So those are the kinds of questions I ask. And then once we get past that, you know, do they care at all? Do they
Mm.
show any care? If they say, and this is a big one I've heard, well, I can't really care about that. I got to worry about my family. or I can't really, or, oh, that's happening over there. I don't give a fuck what's happening over there. I gotta live my life. I can't. If they have no care at all about what's going on, or what's happening, they're not safe. They're not a safe person, because as soon as, the government starts pushing their shit again, they're gonna line right the fuck up. They're gonna line right the fuck up like sheep for their shots and their fucking whatever they're telling them to do, and they're not safe. They're not safe. So that's kind of where my stuff begins. And
They're gonna put you
unfortunately,
at risk as well, right?
what's that?
They're gonna put you at risk if you're in that situation.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be a good protector because they don't even understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So if you want a divine male in your life, that's gonna, that's a good presence. It's an energy of protection. If you want that, you need an awakened male that can provide that. If he's not awake, or at least to some degree has no idea what's going on, what the fuck is he protecting you from? He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to watch your back, and he can't have a clear thought if he's drinking the fucking tap water anyway. So,
It's the allegory of the diamond in the rough.
yeah. Yeah, it's I've been lucky to have some conversations with some guys that were, I think, fortunately for me, I think there's more men that are kind of a little more awakened than the females to some degree. There's more spiritual females, okay?
Right.
But a lot of them go too far left, so they're not really awakened. They're more new age spiritual,
Yeah.
But there's more like right leaning men that politically lean right that question more. That's what I've been noticing. So that's kind of like, those are the dynamics I've been seeing. But the ones on the left, the males on the left seem to have more feminine attributes, and those are the ones that I think you were talking about earlier, Derek, that are more like the new age spiritual dudes that are trying to hook up. So they're
Thanks.
like they're not like, what do you call it, alphas. They're the beta, or whatever you want to call them, beta males,
Yeah.
because they're like afraid. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are afraid to step into their masculinity, and they apologize for any masculine energy they have at all. And so those females that end up with them are going to end up in a very mothering type of role, because they're not going to be with a man. They're going to be with someone that's a little bit more of a feminine energy, you know which, I mean, if that's what you're into, that's, for you. I'm not going to say it's all. Let me, really be clear about that. I'm not saying it's all men that are Democratic or on the left. I'm just saying it's what I've seen is that a lot of them have more feminine energy, and some of them I think lie and say that they are, just to be on that side so that they have more access to females. That's what I think.
Real men are anarchists.
Well, that's a really good point, because the healthier men can recognize and can question and think for themselves. So then they're awakened, and they know that both sides of the political spectrum are bullshit. They know that. They've gotten to the point where they know and understand that it's, the Jerry Springer show, like I've said before, but Jerry Springer, I think, was more honest, you know? And I've said that before, and I say it all the time, because I really believe that it's like a talk show, you know. On that note, I probably should go. My kiddo is getting back from his school trip really soon, but I want to tell you both, you've really made my day. I'm so happy to have you both on here. I hope we get to do this again. You have just brought me so much joy today, and this week has, there's been a couple of tests, and I've passed them all this week, but this really, the two of you doing this with me tonight has just brought me so much joy. I really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much. And to everyone watching, I'm going to have Fred and Derek post their links, please, for your podcast and your YouTubes and everything that you think people should look at. If you're watching this, please look down in the comments below, because it's so, so important. And again, I want to tell you, Mark Passio has a seminar that is coming up. Please don't miss it. check it out. I will put the website below, whatonearthishappening.com. Get signed up for it. Don't miss out on this,
Yep.
because it is a great way to learn how to do, the media, how to use the technology. And my favorite part is the networking portion of it. I think that alone is worth it. Get in there, meet some people. That's there's so many people. He gives you like so much time to talk after each seminar. I mean, you get on that Telegram, he'll give you, I think, the class, he'll chat with people. There's an hour after class where he takes the time to talk to everybody. One-on-one, he will talk to you. He takes the time to talk to as many people as he can. He engages with you. He's very, believe it or not, very tactful, and he is patient, more patient than people give him credit for. And then after he finishes the night, he leaves the Telegram open for at least, at least 2 hours, Fred, I want to say. Isn't it about 2 hours? He leaves the chat open, so you can communicate with one another,
Yep.
and network, and build and learn together. And believe me, it is powerful. Let me tell you, you want some information, get in one of these groups with these people, because they pour the information. They pour it in there. You want to learn? Oh my God, get in there. You will learn. It's not right, Fred? I mean, seriously, you've been in there, right?
I'm attending it for the third time.
Me
For the
too.
second time.
Me too. Yes, for the third time. So both of us will be in there as well. So I mean, absolutely yes. So please come check out the seminar. Check out Derek's podcast. Check out his stuff. Also, please check out Fred's stuff. I love you guys. You're so awesome. And yeah, so I'll post the link for Mark's stuff too. And thank you all. You're awesome. Mwah.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Relax and ease your mind each and every single time. I'm the calm, all the time. Now I'm the Bob.